Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be doing chapter 13 verse 1. We're starting a new chapter, and we're not only starting a new chapter, we're starting a new section, because the first 6 chapters are broadly described as Karma Yoga, the middle 6 chapters 6 to 12 are described as Bhakti Yoga, and then 13 to 18 are described as Gyan Yoga. So we finished the Bhakti Yoga section, and we're now starting the Gyan Yoga section. I'm very curious because I think a lot of the last 6 chapters are also on Bhakti Yoga, from what I've heard from people, quoting verses from these different chapters. So I'm very curious to get to like know what is going on. What is it? Okay. So chapter 13 is called. Now this is an interesting thing. It's called. Nature, the enjoyer and consciousness, according to Prabhupada, and according to Swami Mukundanand, it's called Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhag Yoga. Kshetra and Kshetragya are words that are used in the first verse of this chapter, and so we'll dive into that. And Vibhag Yoga. Vibhag, distinguishing. So yoga through distinguishing the field and the knower of the field. The field means everything outside the soul, which includes the body and the subtle body, which means the mind, intellect, ego, and all the components. And then the knower of the field is the soul. So kshetra is the field, which is all of this body and subtle body, and kshetragya is the actual soul. So distinguishing between the field and the knower of the field, the yoga of distinguishing between them. That is this thing. Okay, and then yeah. Okay, so let's do our prayer and then we will go into it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Bhagwan, please help us understand. Thank you for giving us this verse. Thank you for giving us this Gita, and please help us understand this verse in the deepest way possible, as much as our current level of intellect can allow. Please deepen that. Please take us deeper from there so that we can understand, we can get to the next level. And please help us use this verse so that we can intensify our attachment for you and build prem for you. Get to the stage of prem for you, so that we can be happy knowing, realizing, actually Vigyan level realizing our eternal position as your servant, so that we can actually be happy and feel the depths of love that are not possible in this material world. Okay, let's sing the verse together. Let me turn on the screen. Okay. So Arjuna is speaking. Arjuna uvacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetragyameva cha etadviditumechhami jnanam gyeyam cha keshava. He's merged 1 and 2 together. 2 is Bhagwan Uvacha, so I'm going to do this separately. My dear Krishna, Arjuna asked, I wish to know about Prakriti, which is nature, and Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, Kshetra, and the knower of the field, Kshetragya, and the knowledge, Gyan, and object of knowledge, Gyenam. So Gyanam, knowledge, and Gyeyam, Gyanam, Agyanam. Gyanam, Gyeyam. Gyanam, Gyeyam. So Gyanam is knowledge and Gyeyam is object of knowledge. So, O Krishna, I wish to know about what? 3 things. Prakriti and Purush, the Kshetra and Kshetragya, Jnanam and Geyam. Three different things that he's asking for here. So here he's saying, what Prabhupada is saying, that the conditioned soul is entrapped in material existence and the body is made of senses. So every conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification. So Bhaktivigyan Maharaj had said this, that this desire to lord it over comes from the soul. The soul is the one, that's the Kshetragyam is the one that is constantly vibrating. I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy. So that is what we want to reverse, and the way to reverse it is using sound. So sound is what creates, this is a sound related seminar that I did of it. So sound is what creates this material nature, and sound is what can help us reverse it by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That starts to reverse this process where we are saying, I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy. It starts to reverse it. So it comes from the body and it comes up, to the mouth. The gross is when we actually speak. So there's paravak, there's paschantivak, there is something else, and then there's something else. And so the gross one is the final one, which when we're actually speaking, and the one before that is the mind. We always have the speech in our mind, we're always talking to ourselves, so that is sound also. And then below that is the intelligence, and below that is the soul. So when we want to reverse this process, then that's what we do. So where did I get into that? Yeah, so what is the body is made of sense. So the soul wants to enjoy sense gratification. He says it here very clearly. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification. So our soul is conditioned. It's not just that our mind. I always used to think that it's our mind or the intellect that wants to enjoy. I didn't realize that it's actually the soul that wants to enjoy sense gratification. Which makes sense, though. I mean, I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but it totally makes sense that when we were up there in the spiritual sky, our soul was the one that wanted to enjoy, and that's when Krishna sent us here, and then he built all of this, the kshetra, the field, afterwards. But the kshetragya, the soul, was the one that wanted to enjoy. So now a person should not identify, so the person, the kshetragya, is the knower of the fields, and we know that we are not the body because, from childhood, our body changes completely. Our physical body changes every, I don't even remember, 2 years, 3 years, I might be totally off. But a certain amount of time, our body completely changes. All the cells in our body are completely new, completely different. So we're not obviously the body, right? And we're not our minds. Our minds change, our thoughts change, our emotions change, everything's changing. But we are still the same person, right? We know that I am the same person as when I was a child and when I'm going to be an old person. It's the same thing. So that's the difference, Kshetra and Kshetragya, basically the soul and the body. He talks about it in a different way, but in the first 6 chapters, in chapter 2 especially, he talks about the soul. I'm not the body, I'm the soul. In the first 6 chapters, the knower of the body and the position with which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. Middle 6 chapters, the God is described, and the relationship between God, soul, and super soul in devotional service are described. So sambandha means connection, relationship between the soul and the super soul, that is described. And in terms of devotional service, and the superior position of God and the subordinate position of the individual soul are definitively described in these chapters. The living entities are subordinate under all circumstances, but in their forgetfulness they are suffering. It's so beautiful, right? When enlightened by pious activities, they approach God in those 4 ways. I think in chapter 9 he had said, those distressed in want of money, inquisitive, search of knowledge. And that is now the living starting with the 13th chapter, the living entity comes in contact with material nature and how he is delivered by the Supreme Lord. Through the methods of doing either karma kand or cultivation of knowledge or devotional service. 3 things, the karma, gyan, and bhakti. So in starting from chapter 13, God is talking about how we can be delivered by the Supreme Lord. And yeah, okay. And this part also, although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related. So we're going to get to know how we become related even though we're completely different. So here the commentary is just that in some editions of the Bhagavad Gita, this verse has been omitted. I didn't know that. That's good to know. And so this, I don't know why it would be omitted though. Arjun is speaking. Arjun is asking a question. And the next verse figures as the first verse of the 13th chapter. So anyways. Okay, that's so. I'm very very excited about this because he talks about Prakriti and Purusha, and God is the only Purusha, and all living entities, including all plants and animals and human beings, men or women, all are Prakriti, which means they're feminine, and God is the ultimate Purusha, which is the masculine. So it doesn't matter whether we're man or woman, right? That's the thing. We are all feminine in nature. All of us, our souls are all feminine in nature. So yeah, it's just, yeah, any ego that men have that they're better, it's at the soul level, there is no difference at all. We're all the same, and we come back in next lives or previous lives. We've been men, we've women. I think we all know that, so I'm belaboring the point. Okay, that's it for this verse. We'll do chapter 13 verse 2 in the next video, where Bhagwan Sri Krishna starts to explain. Wish you a day filled with lots and lots and lots of spiritual growth and spiritual grace. Radhe Radhe.